Good afternoon. Welcome to we're Tuesday, right? Tuesday afternoon meeting. I lose track. What we have on today, well, we have a couple things, but the main thing is the coroner. And I think Christie's going to give us an update on that. Yeah, no, you're fine over there. Absolutely.
So, not prepared with any numbers, but I just wanted to see if you guys had any questions. I'll answer them the best I can or get you the information that you need.
Mic on.
Oh, okay.
And you might
There we go.
state who you are for the record.
I'm Christy Masters, Chief Deputy for the Cowlitz County Coroner's Office.
I think a couple things that come to mind. And I think the last time we heard Dana, there'd been some increases. Are we still seeing some? I want to say they were seeing an increase in fentanyl type stuff.
Yeah, yep. So we've had, I don't have exact numbers for you, but I can get them. We've had a lot more autopsies this year than last year. And whether that's, I think that's a direct correlation to the increase in overdoses. But numbers would do the best, to get you stats on that. But
Yeah.
so, overdose deaths are not always straightforward. And if someone doesn't have a long medical history, or any medical history, then a lot of times we'll have to go to extra lengths to find out, what happened, because our main job is cause and manner. And so, there's been an increase that way. So that's the long and short of it.
Yeah. We had other things I remember from the tour over there. There was, I don't know if, and I can't even remember, it was like the screen, this system for watching or whatever for people coming in
Yes.
was non-functional. And I don't know if she's been able to get that.
So we've received a bid from the company that originally installed it. And the bid includes coming in, getting it up and running again, and then also training us. And that bid came out to just a little over $16,000.
Would you repeat that number?
Just a little bit over 16,000. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I believe it's like $16,045.
They weren't under warranty of any kind?
I think Don Nyman would be able to answer that better than I could right now, so I don't want to say anything that isn't correct, but I believe that was outside of warranty, or that the warranty's over, but I'm not exactly sure. I'm gonna have to double check with him.
So it had been operating.
It hasn't been operating since January of this year. We haven't been able to get it up and running. We did have the representative from the company come and take a look at everything. There are it just wasn't running anymore. Exactly why, I'm not sure. There was a few components that were missing. And
You've probably heard me before complain that we get something built and we sort of wash our hands of anything. The contractor can walk away, and I don't think this could not have passed an acceptance plan.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you. If it's a system failure, then they should take care of it. There's some concern that this was human tampering before they came in.
Got it.
So I'm not, sure what side of the ledger that falls on.
Right. Agreed. Understood.
How about your positions? Have you had, because we hear people having a real hard time
yeah.
finding positions, so.
Yeah, so we're really grateful, actually, very grateful to you guys for the positions that we got. And so the people that we have filling them right now, each one is full. The
Oh, wow. So you did find bodies to fill that.
yes, yeah.
I didn't mean it that way.
Yes. And they're training up quickly. It's a wonderful group of people, and it takes a little bit of the pressure off. We're all still working really hard to keep up, but they're doing really good, and we're very thankful. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Trying to think what else when Dana gave me a tour over there that I know she'd been working with and she had mentioned working with others to come in and do their work in our facility.
yes.
And I'm assuming that's still on a path or.
Yes, because of the shortage of pathologists in Washington State, there have been several counties that would send their requests for autopsies to a county whose medical examiner took a position in another city. And so they're not able to rely on that pathologist anymore. And so we've been getting quite a few autopsies from other counties. So we have Dr. Nelson. He's at work right now, but he's and then we also have Dr. Burt who comes up, and so they'll use our facility, and then the pathologist will send a invoice to them directly for their fee, but we charge a fee for the facility use and for the technicians that we provide. So, and that's right on track. And that's, we've seen quite a few come in the last month and a half.
Perfect. I mean, we have a very nice facility. It's good to see it utilized.
Yeah. So piggyback on Commissioner Dahl's first question, one of the issues I struggled with early on was trying to figure out what are the criteria that say you must do an autopsy. And by that, I mean, when you look at something, you don't automatically do an autopsy. You look and say, oh, this one should be autopsied. So just to gain perspective on my part, do you know what that proportion of bodies coming in get autopsied? Just like 50%, 80%?
Oh gosh, I don't feel confident enough to say what percentage right now. I could actually probably get that for you later today, but it's just really hard to say because each person gets our full attention.
No, I
And-
understand that. I'm trying to get perspective. I know it's a judgment call,
Mhm.
and whenever I do a judgment call, I want to see, is there other ground truth I can take a look at? So we've got a lot of counties, and I wonder what percentage, like if we were autopsying 50% and the other counties were autopsying 80%, I'd want an explanation,
Sure.
something like that. So if you could provide something like that, there's no urgency on that. I mean,
I think all I could provide is, the amount of autopsies that we've done to date. I wouldn't be able to compare those to other counties because I don't have that kind of information or access to it, but I could only compare to what our previous year was.
I'm pretty sure a coroner to coroner conversation is,
Yeah, that would be out of my scope for getting you information, but
was my in that case,
pardon me?
just you yourself or the coroner's office?
Well, the coroner, we don't have access to other counties' amount of autopsies. We could probably ask, but I don't really know. I've never.
Yeah, but what I'm telling you, based on the question I'm asking, it's really something where you should go out and find the data or come back and say that data is not available. Because it's it's really the coroner's department that we're talking about.
Yeah, and so our coroner's office, we have our data that we can make available to you, but as far as other counties' data, it's an interesting question. I'll find out for you. So,
Dana probably is in contact with them and would be able to ask those kind of questions.
Yeah, I know from elected to electeds, if like our auditor, she's in contact with lots of auditors. Did you find this at how did that go? That's really all I'm asking for. And it's a useful thing for you and for me also. I once had a discussion with an elected and I had no idea how they ever figured out whether they're on the right path or not because they refused to go back in time and examine stuff. And I'm like, how do you learn? Okay, then you mentioned out of county use of the building. Do you have proportions there? Like proportions for the space and yeah, just that.
So, so proportions as far as like if there's an uptick in other counties for.
No, you told me that you were doing out of county
Mhm.
autopsies or
Yeah.
treatment. And so I'm saying you brought in 100 cadavers and of those 100, 80 were from Cowlitz and the rest were from outside the county, that kind of number.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So, we don't really, so when another county needs an autopsy, and mainly that's been because the county that they were sending their autopsies to, they had a change. And so then they closed off, that availability.
Could you put the microphone just a tad bit closer?
Oh, okay. So, so as far as information, it wouldn't have the scope, I think, that you're looking for. So when we have another county, say it's, any given county, and they bring someone to us to have one of, they set up an autopsy with one of our pathologists that's available. They'll bring them in and then they'll take them back with them almost immediately. And so that doesn't really have a impact on what we're doing in our county.
You
So I'm
read
not
way
really-
too much into my question. I'm simply asking some that you should be able to answer.
Well, just make it a little bit clearer for me, please.
Yeah, I said of a example of 100 cadavers that went to our morgue.
Uh-huh.
How many of those are from out of county?
That's not really it. If say we had 4 or 5 autopsies from other counties in the last month, then that's 4 or 5 bodies that come in and out of our morgue almost immediately, it's same day. And so
I'm sorry, are more what?
so it doesn't have any impact on how many we've had in our morgue from our county in 1 month.
Yeah, like I said, you're trying to read too much. I'm not asking you about impacts. I'm just asking you for a count. And that's just
We've
just a
had-
simple number.
We've had 4 or 5 autopsies from other counties in the last month and a half.
Okay, and how does that compare? I wouldn't go necessarily month to month, but you've been operating almost 12 months, let's say 11 months. Do you have a feel for the count, the total aggregate count of in-county and out-county?
So cases that we've taken jurisdiction over, I believe total 997. About 312, and give or take, because I didn't prepare those numbers coming
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
so I'm just giving you an estimate. About 312 of them are ones that so those are cases that we do the groundwork for. We will take jurisdiction if it's a coroner case where it's about 312 right now, I believe. Not counting today.
So let me try and understand. 997 is approximately the number. Just call it 1,000
That's
over
our
the,
case number. It was.
that's your case number. And a case is defined as,
So a case is defined as a individual that we assign a number to, where we need to look at it. Ones where we sign the death certificate would be in that 312 number. Ones where we have the primary care physician sign the death certificate, but we still take a look at the case and take a look at all the information. That would
Okay.
be the remainder.
like 1,000 people
Mhm.
are pushed into the door. You look at them, and out of those, you
don't-
decided that 312.
We don't see all of those people. A lot of them are hospice cases.
Excellent, okay.
Mhm.
So they don't go through the morgue,
No, not all of
And-
them go through the.
but you're putting that count in at 997?
Our case number is 997.
Okay,
As of
so
this morning.
is the case number assigned to every death in the county?
No, it's not. So a hospital, if someone's been in the hospital for more than 24 hours, we do not assign a case number to them. And we have jurisdiction over all accidents, suicides. We have jurisdiction, so the hospital would report those to us in those cases, even if they were in over 24 hours. We still take jurisdiction over those. So that's just the exception to that rule. But as far as the remainder, if they're in the hospital for more than 24 hours and it doesn't fall under the accident or the suicide or something like that, then we don't assign a case number. So that's not an accurate reflection of deaths in this county for this year. The 997 is just a reflection of what we're taking a look at.
Okay, I'm probably still confused. You mentioned hospice.
Yes,
If someone dies in hospice, is that going to cause this number to bump up?
yes, we release them, we assign a case number that they're released when they're hospice case. We enter them into our system. But unless there's been a fall or something like that with an individual, even if they're on hospice, unless there's been something that would give us cause to believe that it was accidental, then they're assigned a number, but they get released directly to a funeral home.
So I would certainly appreciate seeing the numbers in sort of a tabular form with the definitions.
Okay, sure. Like, so you want to see numbers associated with like how many are hospice, or is that what you're asking?
Well, I'm having difficulty understanding the categories. So if you list them, then it's much easier. And I see because the numbers just by themselves don't tell me much. But I'm going back to my first question, which is when you're comparing numbers, I want some numbers from outside the county just to see how we're doing. Okay, when you do numbers from outside the county, I don't know that they're going to be the same definition of categories as we've got. So I'd like to have something to be normalized and common. And then again, you say we charge for the body for outside county. I could go in and look at the receipts coming in and then infer from that how many events occurred, but I think it's more straightforward if you just present me the numbers and categorize it. So by doing so, you define those numbers.
I think the numbers, if I'm correct, I think the numbers that you are asking for, numbers that come in from other counties to our facility aren't going to give a good reflection of what that county, given their population, given whether they've got a bigger city in their county. It's not going to be a reflection of what's going on as far as criteria goes.
Yeah, but let me stop you there. We didn't fall off the turnip truck. We're not trying to compare apples to oranges. We're just trying to look at the universe, and we can't see the universe, but you can. And so I'd like the universe. I'd like actually something, well, is this okay with you? Am I questioning? Yeah. So at the end of this year, you will have completed a full year. And that would be a great opportunity to present sometime in early spring or so a report that says this is how we operated this past year. These are the datas.
Mhm. Yeah, that sounds good.
Make sense to you?
As far
I-
as like state data, though, there's state agencies that are gonna have data that applies across the board for all the counties. But, you know, so we can certainly, you know, make an inquiry to a state agency as far as what would be comparable from county to county, but
Yeah.
but we can certainly give you an accurate, reflection of what's going on in ours.
Be trying to reiterate what I think I'm hearing is we had 900 and some cases. We don't count hospital cases. If they're receiving treatment in a hospital and they expire in a hospital, that's a hospital stat.
Yeah, unless it
Well,
falls under our jurisdiction.
Yeah. If they come out of the hospital and they're transferred to hospice or something, then it becomes a case
Mhm.
for us.
Yes.
And of those 900 plus cases, 300 reached the level where we've seen enough data in it that we want to take a closer look. Is that
So
close?
So, 300 and, you know, just a little over 300, that's certainly changed this weekend. And so I could
Yeah.
get you an exact number
Yeah,
later, but,
yeah.
so those cases are, so we get called out to a scene. You know, that would be included in that 300 number. If, we get a hospital call and they say, hey, this, you know, we ask questions. It's usually a house supervisor that'll call us and they'll say, you know, we ask them, hey, what was the cause and manner? You know, was the doctor? What is the, you know, cause of death? You know, that was, you know, the doctor will say one thing. Sometimes we have to look a little bit further and say, hey, was there a fall in the last, you know, period of time? When was the fall? You know, was it from a standing position, a seated position? And so we'll go over, everything to make sure that it's not something that we would need to take jurisdiction over, because if it's a fall, it's an accident, right? And so, you know, those are the kind of questions that we'll ask when the hospital calls us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they could be hospital too. It's just
Yeah.
some criteria that finally clicks it over into, we need to take a different look. And then of the 900 and whatever you said, then in the last few months, we've done 4 or 5 for other counties, or other counties have used our facilities 4 or 5 times.
So it's actually more than that. We've just done 4 for one county in the past week and a half. Before
okay.
that, it was probably 4 or 5 from counties that actually don't border us.
So none of those are in the 900.
No, oh no, we do
So we
not.
have
assign
900 and some here, and then
Yeah,
in just in the last week, we've had 4 from another county.
Yes, so if their pathologist is not available to them for whatever reason, and so that's the biggest thing, the biggest reason that you're gonna see for out of county autopsies is gonna be because of pathologist shortage. And so
But if I could interrupt you, we don't supply pathologists. We don't, you don't service other counties with pathologists. You let them use our facilities and they have to figure out what pathologist they're gonna use. They might ask you and say, is Dr. Nelson available? And you might say, yeah.
Yep.
And Dr. Nelson is available based on you saying, I don't need you here today. Is that right?
Of course, yeah, it's up to the pathologist to, they do their own scheduling. And they do their own invoicing for their services. Doesn't have anything to do with our county. We're simply just providing the facility.
Just providing the facility, yeah.
So if the 4 during the week, if that's even close in a 52-week year, you know, you could have 200 plus that we're doing for other counties in addition to the 900 we assign a number to plus whatever we do.
Yeah, it doesn't,
Is it,
it wouldn't quite equal out to that only
Yeah.
because it all depends on what's happening. for
yeah,
their-
it can be
yeah,
up and down, but
Yeah,
just trying to get a scope of what maybe using our facility. I think that's kind of where we're driving, but.
Yeah, yep.
And I'm not saying it's a bad thing because they're paying to use our facility.
exactly.
Oh, actually,
Yeah.
if I express my personal interest, the taxpayers spent a fortune on a building. If it gets used 24 hours a day and it's 15 hours from other counties, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
As long as you can do your business for the county, then the rest of it is good for the taxpayers.
To me, it's long and it's obviously the landfill and this are two different entities, but it's the same kind of concept. We can do business outside of our county. It just helps our county.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
And with RSV and those kinds of things, who in your group keeps an eye on what's coming down the pike?
As far as other counties go, or?
Yeah, well, probably a closer connection to the CDC, because you will get somebody has died and you look at them and you're really not quite sure. So you go through and the CDC says, oh, there's been a rash of this or that and so forth. Sometimes from the autopsy, you can't necessarily tell things. You have to do a lot of processing. What are you looking for? You're looking for fentanyl? Well, that's easy enough. But what if you're looking for plutonium?
Yeah.
You're not going to find it because you're not going to know how to look for it. So I'm just saying, keeping updated on what epidemics are out there.
Right.
Who does that in the coroner's office?
Well, something like that falls, Dana is working on a yearly report that has stats as far as it will have stats when it's completed on.
Who did you say?
Dana, our coroner. She's working on the yearly report. Is that what you're asking? Like if there's a report with stats versus like if something was cancer or if something.
You probably
was
understood my
system?
question.
Yeah.
It-
If does she keep up with like things that the other agencies may be seeing? In this example, CDC is saying, well, we have this stuff coming into the country. Are we then looking for it? How do we keep up with anything that, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the CDC. It could just be something that we're aware of that, hey, we've heard over in this county, we're starting to see this. Then how do we track and make sure that we're not letting that fall through the cracks? Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. So yeah, so the coroner keeps
Right, Dana.
track. You know, when we will keep an eye out for certain things. The best example I could give you is if we hear from law enforcement or other coroners that there's a certain drug that's out. There is you know, things will trend, unfortunately. And so, I mean, that's the best example that I could give as far as like keeping an eye, you know, getting a red flag that something might be coming around. There's things going on in other counties that haven't hit ours yet, or there's things going across the United States that haven't hit our state yet, that kind of stuff. As far as diseases, if there was an alert, the coroner would most certainly be keeping an eye out for that kind of thing.
So Dana's probably the one that,
Yeah.
the gatekeeper for that,
Oh,
so to speak.
yeah. Certainly.
Who is?
Dana,
Oh,
the coroner.
Right. Yeah, I just saw an article today that I'd probably seen once before, but I've forgotten it now. Nemathilaments were, that's a roundworm got in, and it actually comes from the python. And there's a long
Really?
circuitous path on how this person ended up with one that actually, as a parasite, went past the blood-brain barrier, and they couldn't figure out what was going on, had they, for quite some time. I think she survived, but it's one of those things where you've got to get stuff coming through your office that is pretty interesting. And I mentioned that before, is like, you are on the front line, you're looking at things and document them in a way so that other people can take advantage of what you've seen. Outbreaks always begin in one sort of narrow place, and the earlier you catch an outbreak, the better off you are.
Any-
And anything for the budget?
As far as budget amendments go,
Yeah,
um,
that's already in the works.
yes.
Okay.
I think, yeah, we approved everything you needed there.
Okay.
Good. What? I don't have anything else. I appreciate you coming over, Chrissy. It always helps me to understand. Cause I don't sit in those departments day to day and understand the things that you have
Oh,
to
yeah.
deal with, and stuff is interesting.
Out of curiosity, how is the parking lot is pretty small for the morgue? Is that a problem at all?
Not so far.
Okay. Thank you.
We're good.
And your HVAC, it's working?
Yes.
Well,
Don't worry, that's a standard question we ask on all buildings these days.
we're gonna have to move over to the morgue.
Okay,
All right. Well,
thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I had I think we got Kelly wanted to go over assignments and maybe on the meeting schedule. I thought I would bring. I had a call, Brad Thurman, Sheriff Thurman called me yesterday, and a little bit of update on the Humane Society
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
we're taking on.
yeah.
Uh, we gave them a budget, I think it was right around 375.
Yeah, NTE.
And it basically was what we were gonna pay the Humane Society. And with that, they, in talking to him yesterday, they have the officers hired, the vehicle,
Cool.
I think a couple vehicles to
Mhm.
do the work. They've been working with, we're looking at a temporary hold because of the initial cost to the Humane Society to put an animal in there. They're still working on that, but it's over $300. So we're looking at a temporary hold, like a building that would hold for 72 hours. In case we had a chipped animal, or you put it on Facebook and somebody recognized it right away, that we could get that animal back. And
So it's sort of like transition housing.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And they're working with the jail. The jail actually has space for a building over there. And it's a building with, I think he said 12 holding pens, and it'd be like 12 grand for this building. And then Marin, they're working with Marin for what was the name they used? There's some inmates that you can use that are trust.
I like,
They're at a point where they can help with the animals.
I like that.
Yeah. And that leaves them, out of that 375, that leaves them 91.5 for animals that they actually have to transfer to the Humane Society at 300 whatever a pop. So, and we'll see, that's where it's at right now.
That's fairly good news. I'm surprised the building and costs is what, 12K you said?
12K for the building with 12 holding pin that they were
Hmm,
over on the jail property.
wow. Is it already built or it's just?
I don't think it's already done right now. It's just the bid they got and the direction they're looking at. And I think Longview has hired an officer. So I think there's actually going to be more animal control officers out there than there was before. And what I told him, I said, this has the potential, it looks like to me to be a better service than we had in the
Yeah.
past. I mean, time will tell, obviously, but it looks like it has potential to be that. So and he's gonna write up an update for the whole commissioner. I tried to make a few notes when he was talking with me yesterday.
And the $300 you mentioned, that's sort of the upfront fee, or I should say, not up. It's the one-time fee for you to play the game.
Yeah,
And then they'll hold them for how many days, or it's indeterminate?
I don't know that I
Yeah.
don't know that part of it.
We don't put animals down at this Humane Society, or do we?
I don't believe we do we? Oh, if it's considered a dangerous animal? Yeah.
They exempt the commissioner, so.
Yeah. We gotta be careful on that.
Yeah.
So that's a real brief update. And like I said, Sheriff Thurman was gonna put together more detailed for us, but I thought I'd pass that on. On the assignments, you got that coffee? I can tell you the differences I know of. The top part is all correct. The first change, EDC, that actually, when I became chair, Dennis took that. Great Rivers Behavioral Health, I believe Commissioner Mortensen is that one now. Law and Justice, Commissioner Weber and I switched. He's the main and I'm an alternate. Noxious Weed, Commissioner Mortensen and I switched.
So you're alternate?
Yes. And I think that's the changes I recognized.
Did you want to keep the rest of them the way they are for this next year?
I'm sorry?
Did you want to keep the representatives the same for this next year?
Which representatives?
You guys,
Just, do we want to,
Oh, yeah.
with the changes we just noticed, do we want to just keep everybody's assignments the same, or does anybody have any burning desire to get into another area? I'm okay with my assignments.
The Three River Wastewater Authority is the other way around, I think.
Is that you and Commissioner Weber's the alternate?
Yeah, I've been going, so I
Okay, so
assumed
that one will probably change too. Okay.
thought there was one more here someplace.
But, oh, yeah.
On the EMS district, I'm pretty much not doing much for that at all. And
Which one is that, Arn?
just above noxious weeds. Or I should say, yeah, just above noxious weeds.
Okay.
We can leave it the same, but if somebody wants to do a better job, I'm for it.
Yeah. What's
Okay, the Solid Waste Governance Committee, yeah, that's right.
I think I would just, with the changes we've noted, I'd just leave them for 2024.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
You're okay with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am not totally done, just,
Yeah.
was looking, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, unless spoken otherwise, yeah, we'd leave them. The CAP board, is that anything you're interested in? I know Joe McIntyre's on there.
I don't know at this time because I talked to Susan Eugenius a little bit because they're gonna have that mid-county opening on the crab board,
Oh, yeah,
and I might put my name in for that. She sits on the engineering side, and I thought it
oh,
might
there's
be,
an opportunity for the banker to go there?
yeah, yeah,
Probably not a bad idea.
yeah.
And I don't think we had to change anything on the back page.
Oh, yeah. We'll just leave that as it is. There's nothing back there. And you,
You know that, no, never mind.
was this? I wasn't sure why we got, was this something Doug is suggesting some changes or?
No, that's the rules of practice that if there's any changes in the meetings, then it needs to be updated. So it would come to you, and since
Oh.
we're
So if
looking-
we have changes in this.
Correct.
Then this gets changed.
correct.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what you're telling me. All right, I get it now.
And you probably already have this on this page, the list of the commissioners on the left side by the header.
Yeah,
I'll fix it. Yeah.
oh. I haven't been promoted yet. Have you looked over this agenda suggestion?
Which,
I don't know if he has a copy of that, but I can share it, my screen.
oh, yeah, I have seen it.
You wanna share it so they can see it? Staff has put together, our meetings are Mondays, 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock, Tuesday, you guys know the routine. And they're suggesting, they put together a suggestion that Monday, we try to the whole intent is to make it a little more efficient for departments and instead of just coming in and just giving us simple updates, that when they actually come in, we're trying to design some metrics so we can see how things that may be being worked on are progressing. And so you won't see, won't necessarily see every department pop in on Monday and say, I'm working on the phone system, for example. You'll see them come in maybe once a month or once a quarter and give us a more detailed report based on metrics that we have out there. Am I kind of explaining this pretty close?
Yeah, so it would be more of a performance management review, so that it would be more standardized, that they would be bringing at 9 a.m. on Monday mornings. And it would either be monthly, quarterly, annually, semi-annual, depending on what the departments decide. This is just we're trying this out to see how it is, and we definitely
Yeah.
can make changes as we go. There's departments that are going to take advantage of coming, but when they say monthly, it's not going to be every Monday that month. So
Right.
like building and planning would come the second Monday of each month, and then there'll be one that comes the third Monday, and then the fourth Monday of each month. So they're going to have standardized reporting metrics that they would bring to you guys, and hopefully associated with what they would need for their budget. So
Yep.
that's what 9 a.m. would be.
This is different than what I had seen before, I think, or I didn't pay as close attention, but Monday, number 2, what would be an outcome of a meeting there?
Yeah, so a lot of the departments, when they do come on Mondays, they're giving you what is on the Tuesday agenda, either for the next day or for maybe during the month that they're going to be bringing. I see a lot of public works using that, so they come on Mondays and just let you know what's going to be on the agenda. I feel like it's still an advantage for you to be able to ask questions and prepare them for the Tuesday. It could be any meeting. So if they are on the agenda and they want to come and do like a workshop kind of to let you know what's going on, what's going to be on the agenda, and similar to what they already provide you, at least for the departments that come on Monday.
Yeah, I'm struggling a little bit because I really I think that the substantive discussion should appear on the Tuesday meeting. And it's very easy for us at the Monday meeting to drill in and do all kinds of stuff, only to have to do it again on Tuesday. And I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think Public Works has done a very good job of essentially filling in more detail than would be sort of reasonable to explain to the public. By reasonable, I mean the details of a motion or a consent agenda or a motion item. We want to take it to a point where the principles are made clear to the public, what it is they're buying and how much it's costing them. But there can be a lot under there that maybe isn't too interesting to the meeting, to the public, but it's good for us to understand, oh, the reason it's this way, it's something like that. I don't know, I'm just rambling on. I don't want to duplicate effort.
Yeah, it's something that I see happening each Monday. A lot of the departments go through what is on for the Tuesday meeting agenda. So I don't want to take something away that possibly has some meaning. But it's definitely, this is just a trial. And if this becomes a lot of duplicated work, I think we could look back at it and see if that is a needed time slot for that agenda.
So on Monday, then the first meeting, the 9 AM meeting is the one that we're talking about. Let's make it more substantial, that we want to know how the department's doing, what's the metrics. The 10 o'clock is pretty much a reiteration of what we do every Monday now.
Exactly, yeah.
And the 11 o'clock, you're just setting that aside for executive session type stuff.
Yeah, a lot of human resources requests are done in the morning, and she's willing to move it to 11. So then that way a lot of the departments don't have to sit and wait around. Some of the human resources requests come out of executive sessions, so it just makes sense to have them at the same time. We see that a lot of the scheduled executive sessions ends up with some of our employees having to sit out and wait for extended periods of time for their slot. So talking with departments, it just made sense to move it at the end. So if you do have to wait for your executive session, you're not waiting all day long. So if definitely any of these can have ad hoc executive sessions added on to them. And the public comment, I just haven't added it to the sample agenda.
And then Tuesday, basically, doesn't look like there's much change there.
Tuesday, currently we have the commissioner conference at 1:30, and it's been on and off. Like if we have something special to put on the agenda, we'll slip it in there. So we've decided just to take it off of the calendar, except for the month of September, the 3rd and 4th week, and then the complete month of October, and use those for budget workshops. So it would be placed on there for those.
For the workshops.
Yeah.
And the other thing I noticed, we're moving Public Works from Monday to Wednesday,
Yeah,
and that's basically a scheduling thing for them.
yeah, their request, they have a little bit of difficulty coming Monday mornings, having to come in Monday morning after the weekend and dealing with things that happened over the weekend and getting that information and having it available to you by that time is very difficult. So they were requesting to see if they can move it to a Wednesday, then that way they could have it more organized in an organized fashion and bring you stuff that's beneficial and possibly more updated information, because they're just getting a load of information Monday morning and bringing it over here to you guys. So also the bid openings, they requested just to move them from the Tuesday meetings. So we are going to move them to 1:30.
They never happen at 11 anyway.
Yeah. And then again, having the work sessions, just starting them at 2:30. That will continue to be the same except for the time change. And I have talked to quite a bit of the department heads, that most of them that have a big stake in this, and I do have a lot of support. So I feel like it is going the right direction. But of course it's a new thing that I think can be changed as we go along and tweaked.
Sure.
Go back to Monday.
Yeah.
By the time we meet on Monday, you will have already you've already put the agenda out, right?
Correct.
So when you say agenda item review, you actually mean reviewing each item?
No, this is for them to have the opportunity to come. So an example would be the county engineer. She comes Monday mornings and brings the stuff that she has on the agenda or for the next day or for coming up. If she has a public hearing, she often gives that information. So this would give them an opportunity to come in for that. I just kind of gave an example here. It wouldn't be necessary that they have to come. It's an opportunity for them to come and discuss it with you before the Tuesday meeting.
If they're something they've put on the agenda that they want us to know about, this is their opportunity.
Yeah, and Public Works did like the idea of having it specific for
Right.
that, yeah.
But at 9 AM, you specifically mentioned building and planning, risk management and coroner, but not the sheriff or the auditor or assessor, anything like that.
Yeah, this is a sample of what an agenda would look like. So you can imagine this being the agenda for the second Monday of the month. Because this is what it's for. So the second Monday of each month, it would have building and planning coming, risk management. The quarter only comes quarterly, so she wouldn't be on every second Monday of the month. So, but
Like,
if you look, if the third Monday would be, you would have different departments that would be listed there.
like Monday, January 22nd, if we follow your schedule, it'll be Health Department, Parks and Recreation, and IT.
Correct.
And Monday, January 8th, Building and Planning, Corrections, and Finance. So they're in different timeframes or different schedules. We should probably digest it and
Yeah, I gotta admit, I don't, I must not have paid as close attention as I should have, because I find this a little more difficult to understand. What you're trying to do is to avoid staff sitting in there while we're doing things that aren't pertinent to what they're there for.
That is part of the avoidance, but I think another part is giving the departments opportunity to have some performance metrics and bring it to you on a standardized fashion. So there's a whole calendar associated with this that I've put together that it will have it's on this one here. I don't know if you have a chance to look at this one. It doesn't specify the times that they're coming, but like
Oh, the
building,
calendar you're talking about?
yeah,
Oh,
like building and planning they would know that every Monday, second Monday of the month that they need to come and have their performance metrics. And the same with risk management. Every second Monday of the month, they would know that they're coming and they would give you an update on their performance metrics. And the coroner would just come quarterly doing the same thing. And then the
Okay.
third,
I got that, and now I understand this more. Again, can you go through all the problems you're trying to solve with this?
so mostly with you're talking about the 9 o'clock or just the whole entire?
The whole entire thing. You've
whole
been
entire
thinking
thing.
along this because you've got an idea that some things need to be fixed or improved.
Okay. Yeah, so looking at the meetings, I feel like they needed to be more standardized, that the stuff that the departments would bring would be something that you're actually requesting. And giving them the opportunity to have this is probably what the 9 o'clock meeting is trying to accomplish.
Okay, the problem I have with that is I don't think they're interrelated. Having a meeting at 9 o'clock doesn't mean that they'll provide the data or that that they will follow through with the metrics. And it may be that we can do better, but I've been sitting here asking for metrics forever. And the fact that it was asked for on a Tuesday never came up as an issue.
Well, the plan is to have us working with the departments prior to this. So we wouldn't just wait for them to show up and just see what they're giving. So the commissioner's office staff will be working with the departments. So with building and planning, we're gonna have a standardized template that they would be giving us prior to the meeting. And that would be something that we would be able to put up on for everybody
So
to see.
you no longer would just be an automatic pass through.
Correct. This will have some accountability to it, but also working, the accountability is more as we're working with you to help you provide a performance for your department. And currently, this is something totally new. A lot of the departments aren't collecting metrics, or if they're collecting metrics, that has to do with something as the law or an RCW, which doesn't mean we can't use those, but it's not something that I see that they bring. So it's looking into seeing what the departments have. So I'm going to be working with each of the departments before they come and seeing what metrics that they are currently collecting, or maybe stuff that we can start collecting, and helping them put it in a template that you guys would like to see. And then at that point, if you want to ask for more, or if you have questions with that, or maybe you want them to move to something else, then we'll again start working with them to get it. So this 9 a.m. I think it's going to look a lot different than what you've seen.
Okay, so that was of the reasons for the change. You gave the one you just gave now, which is, I guess, called accountability. Are there other reasons then? I think efficiency was one you mentioned. You don't want people sitting there while we're in the 10-minute executive session that took a half hour.
Yes, it's definitely changing the time frames to where we're seeing that departments don't have to sit and wait for another department to go through an executive session. So having instead of everybody coming every single Monday, this is dividing it up so we can put time into each department instead of trying to get everybody questioned in one Monday. So making it more beneficial. And having the executive sessions and the human resources requests, I think at 11 is going to help a lot of people from having to sit and wait.
So you've had recently, or all along, you've had difficulty with people trying to put stuff on the agenda at the last minute. You're not addressing that in particular.
That's having to do with the Tuesday regular public meeting. And until we completely move away from Agenda Quick and get into Laserfish, I don't think I can address those problems at this time.
Okay, and maybe coupling that, sometimes we have a pretty heavy agenda and a timed item at 9:30, a time item at 9:45, and it's always bothered me because we've gone pretty late sometimes on those things. And if we can avoid putting a time down that we cannot meet, that's a useful concept.
Yeah, that is
That's an agenda quick issue.
that is, I haven't really had time to analyze that a lot. I do feel that, well, we have to have times because they're timed events and they're publicized. So we're trying to look, the department's trying to look almost 3 weeks ahead about what the agenda is going to look like. And it's almost impossible to be able to tell that. So, it's definitely something we need to look into. I just am waiting to work on the Tuesday regular public meeting as when I can get everything more electronic to where I can,
Yeah.
it will be something that is, it can help us because it will be able to tell us what's on the agenda so I can see, you know, these times shouldn't be available because it's already, I mean, at this time, 2 people can put in 9:30 and then we're having to do extra back work to say, now you can't do that. Now you've made all your paperwork saying 9:30. They made all their paperwork saying 9:30. So who's going to do 9:30? And I feel like when we get it more streamlined with electronic, you know, once they hit 9:30, that's not going to be an option anymore. So they're going to have to, and if, you know, 9:30 might not be the time that we want to do it, we could change it to whatever, but I feel like a lot of those things can be addressed when we get the laser fish out.
Now, the main focus from the public and KLTV is Tuesday morning. Do you see that changing?
You know, I don't know what the public's interest is with the regular public meetings, just the fact that I think they get to speak and it's televised and stuff. I don't know if they really know the options that they have to do this in the other meetings. I do feel like the performance metrics or performance manage review on Monday mornings would be something that they would be interested in doing if we can get this going the way it is. Having it where it's correlated with the budget and the metrics that they need for the budgets. And, you know, I think it will, can answer and educate a lot of people on why you guys make the decisions that you do.
But you're not really seeing any changes to our Tuesday format other than hopefully maybe getting a little smarter with our hearing times and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try and watch C-SPAN every now and then, but I can't tell at what moment I was actually unconscious. So, I know for the audience, there are tidbits on Tuesday, but sometimes I got to wade through a lot. And maybe this is one way of making it easier for them. But their versatility isn't as high as ours in the sense of this is our job and they've got other job and they can't show up at the right time. But we can only try.
Yeah. I would, you know, I would hope, and it's always a goal. We get questions all the time. We heard from Ron today asking for metrics. If we can get departments on Monday, maybe that would provide some of the things that I hear from more than just Ron out here. I hear from quite a few people that they'd like to see. Yeah.
You never know, we might end up with two meetings that we have a lot of citizen comment or questions.
Which to me would be fine, would be awesome. That they would be interested enough to participate on just more than Tuesday.
Yeah, could you repeat what you said? I heard you, but I didn't.
I was just saying you never know if we might have 2 meetings that the public shows up for comment.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. The Wednesday late afternoon meeting, is that on or off in the schedule?
I did not add the evening meeting,
Okay,
hoping,
That
I've-
disappears.
that.
Unless,
didn't-
unless there's a good reason we feel like we want to schedule.
I didn't get a lot of good feedback from the departments on the meeting. It was not beneficial for them, nor, they were having to stay late and stuff, so. And only a couple of the 5:30s were we had a lot of people show up. Any comment would help too.
you're talking about the evening session, yeah.
Feel like maybe if you put a hot topic on that Wednesday evening meeting, more people might show, but.
It- We always have that option. If it looks like it's gonna be one of those things, we have the ability to change that meeting because we know it'll be that way. But I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all recording. If you two would come up, then it makes it easier. We got plenty of room here, Raylene. So one of the things I've talked about in the past and never really gotten off are kind of presentations by the key departments that interface with the public. Like Emily Wilcox has a fountain of information to show people. You couldn't squeeze it all in a single hour meeting, I don't think, and it's probably not a good thing, but I would certainly find it constructive to set 2 or 3 meetings for Emily to go through and sort of explain the whole taxation, the whole assessment business.
We are giving them opportunities. The auditor was very excited about the changes, and she has taken slots every month for elections because she feels like there should be an update every single month that she should be able to give on elections, and she would love to have the opportunity. So
Right, on a bigger scale, most of the public doesn't really have a good understanding of what the auditor's office does. And they think it's just plain taking a look at numbers, and it's a lot more than that. So that's the kind of thing I'm saying. We don't get that kind of education in school, and it's probably okay that we don't get it in school, but in the public, well, even today, we had someone thinking that we could do something about the sheriff. Your thoughts?
Okay, so, overall, I would say that, the atmosphere that's created here to speak has been a good one. That's been a really good thing. And if you were to set up and have, a Saturday, or I mean, the weekday thing at 5:30, and at least within our group, you could advertise, we could advertise that and come to it we have a pretty good number of people that would be interested in this. And, I think you could, put out this information, but have a singular topic, and then, it could work out. This is like maybe, you can
Yeah.
kind of see that, at least for me, I liked that one in the evening that I came to, but then I just kind of forgot, because like whenever it's the third Tuesday or the fourth Wednesday, I can't even remember the PCO meetings. I keep missing them all the time. It's like, God dang.
Yeah.
So, but I would say, we could get this word out that you're going to have, you might even call it a special meeting. I don't know, make people more interested and just say, we're going to discuss this topic. And, I would come, I can't speak for everybody, but I think, some of my compatriots would come. It'd be nice to see the other side get this information so they could come too and everybody have a chance to speak on it.
A big objective for me is I've got a lot of pride in our people, and I would like the barrier that is viewed, the people and the elite, and just break that down,
Well, I know that, from going to other, across the street meetings, I don't know if I should advertise the name, but, when, Carolyn first started coming there, I was pretty antagonistic to her personally. I didn't think that, I just didn't have, but I didn't really know. So, I, shut my mouth one day and I went in, I took the tour of the elections department. I saw what they did. And then, I listened to her a little more and it was like totally changed my mind 100%. If we could get more people to come in and be able to, I don't know how to share that experience exactly, but, I went completely to the other side. And, and I got 100% confidence in what they do over there as far as elections go. It's like, I'd like to see more people around here get that because we can see our low voter turnout. This might be something that in some way to address this and get more people to come here and listen the way I had to. It hurts to admit when you're wrong, but I was completely wrong because I didn't have any real idea.
It's ironic to me that one of my goals would be for nobody to be in the audience, because we have proven to them time and time again that they don't need to keep an eye on us.
Yeah.
And we'll never get there, but the public elects people that they don't trust, and they shouldn't do that. They should elect people they trust. Trust doesn't always mean they'll vote the way you want them to vote, but it means that you understand what they're voting and what principles they follow and all that. And that comes after years of showing accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do have a meeting at 3 and I'm not trying to cut any conversation short. I'm just,
Well, yeah, you shouldn't have invited me up to the microphone in that case.
but I totally agree with Commissioner Mortensen on that. I think the biggest compliment I get, or I take as a compliment, is you're exactly what you said you were going to be. I never try to be anything different. And so to me, that what you're saying is important.
In 2.5 years, when they come up to you and said, "You haven't changed a bit," that's the other half of that compliment.
Yeah. So we'll probably chat with this again with Commissioner Weber to make sure. I know you probably want to tell you one way or the other to go with this, or
Well,
are you telling us you're going to do this and we better adapt?
it's gonna be on the agenda,
Okay,
so you guys will be.
So we
voting
will
on
have-
it. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so along those lines, I really appreciate the clerk's ambition to improve things.
Mhm.
And I'm one of those that I'm willing to try almost anything.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is that I think we have the flexibility. If things don't work too well, you'll be the first one to say, yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing is cast in concrete, particularly if it's a bad casting.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, so I wanted to just say one thing. And it's about what's been going on over in the court. Now, I've been to the court a few times lately. It's about the sound system. Can't hear a darn thing what those guys are saying. I think they have the same sound system. As much as I argue against spending money, gosh dang, a microphone for Judge Basher over there, it'd be greatly appreciated because you cannot hear a thing he says and we're hanging on every word over there. That's was my main thing to come today and tell you guys, man. Let's get that guy a microphone.
You didn't tell them to turn on the green light and get
Well, I
closer?
keep wanting to say, sit closer, you know what I mean? Cause we have to tell everybody here that it's taken years of practice for me to get used to being just right here by the microphone. And
Yeah.
it's like this, you know, it's like that. And he's saying important stuff, man. And it's like, you're just like this. What'd he say?
Yeah, you're barking up a tree that drives me nuts because if you have a little bit of hard of hearing, I get a lot out of context.
Yeah.
But
Exactly. And this is big stuff, you know, I mean, we're really interested and the place is packed and you could hear a pin drop in the crowd because nobody's chatting. We're all listening, you know, which might be good in a way, but you can't hear them. And better sound system over there would sure be nice.
yeah, when I'm speaking in public, I try to project.
Yeah,
It's
he
not,
doesn't do
it's
that.
not me having a conversation with you. But most people don't realize, I consider that actually disrespectful. If you're here to listen to me, why don't I make every effort so that you can hear me?
Well, I don't want to pick on Judge Basher because I think he's doing a good job holding the state in line. And so
Oh,
if I was
he's-
going to
yeah.
do anything, I'd give him a credit. You know, it's the sound systems. It's the other attorneys too, when they're talking and especially because they're facing away from you, then you really can't hear them.
Yeah, I agree with you on everything that we don't have it properly set up.
Yeah, well, $40,000 for the counter at the sheriff's office, which I haven't seen in action yet. And I've been over there a lot lately. I always check on it. You know, how much does a microphone and a speaker cost? You know?
Well, yeah. I don't know how complicated it is, but we have spent quite a bit on the audio visual at the courthouse. And it's a little bit like with the corner and the screen, it's like you pay the money and then they go away.
Yeah.
Well, my one thing about that is, and I have spoken at different places on different microphones, Port of Longview, they got the best one. You know, you can just stand here normally, sit here and it picks you up, perfect audio. They've got a good system. So I'd ask them which one they're using. If you want to get the best one I've seen yet.
How's the Longview audio?
Longview is okay, but I'll tell you what, I feel oftentimes discriminated against for being tall. Because the Longview one, you could put the microphone all the way up and it's still down there. Yeah, and she walks up and it's like over her head.
Yeah.
It's funny. I won't tie you up. I know you got a meeting to go to, but you know, these are good discussions. That's the nice thing about coming here. And I wished everybody else, I wish the other side could get this experience of being able to come up here and just chat a little bit, you know, and what you guys have created here and this ability to come up and speak, it's been a really good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got some homeschool kids, some older ones, that I want to bring in and have them do some talking. I've been coaching them
Sure.
about the viability
Sure.
of taxes.
Personally, I'd love to see kids involved with it, just to see the process and be part of it.
Yeah.
I've always thought if the school wanted me to send me a kid, I'd just set them right here and let them see how the process works.
I can arrange that.
Yeah.
I'm sure of it.
They teach government stuff in school that might as well. Yeah.
Well, yeah, there you go. There'd be a good one for a Saturday or for a weekday evening. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I think that's a good idea. I think if they're up here, they won't be quite as bored as down there because
Yeah.
that's the other side of that coin is like, who wants to watch C-SPAN? But if you're in C-SPAN, maybe feel
Yeah. If
different.
if that's what their interest is. I mean, we used to shadow kids at work all the time. They'd come in and see what a loan officer does or see. I have no problem sitting somebody up here and letting them see how this process works.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. And I don't think any of the other commissioners do either.
No, I
Yeah.
think it's a good idea.
Okay. We got nothing else. We will adjourn. Thank you, guys.